Today I'm going to talk to you about the first 2 weeks breastfeeding and what I wish somebody told me. So let's get into it. Breastfeeding. It's emotional, overwhelming. It's a lot, physically, mentally, just all the things. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what to expect, what's normal, what's maybe not normal. So number one, the learning curve is real. Some people will really focus on, it's natural. You just know what to do. Your body knows, baby knows, instincts, natural. Yes, I agree with that to a certain extent. But then why do so many people fail at breastfeeding? I don't mean that to sound unkind, but baby's not good at latching, or the tongue ties, or mom struggles. Why is there so many issues if it's so natural? I don't know. I'm not an expert, not a lactation specialist, consultant, any of the things, just a mom who breastfed 2 babies. But I would also like to say it felt natural to me in some areas, in some ways, but also it felt very foreign to me. And I don't want to say awkward. That's not the right word, but I loved my babies. They'd been in my belly for 9 months, but they were brand new to me. Especially my first one, I was also new to being a mother. Okay, I'd been around babies so much, so extensively, but never my own. And dealing with postpartum and breastfeeding and this and that, it went pretty well for me. I'm not gonna lie. I did not struggle as some women do. So I'm not gonna put that out there. But was it foreign? Yes, that's what I would say there, okay? And you're allowed to feel slightly awkward, but still want to do it. You're allowed to get emotional about it, but still want it. So first, let's just do a little bit of what to do and what to expect. All right, you just had baby. Try to get skin to skin as soon as you can. Obviously, it's going to depend on your delivery, your birth, C-section, vaginal, how medicated you are, and how just well everything went. Try to get that skin to skin. Try to feed them pretty quickly. Sometimes when babies come out, they can be a little more alert, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're a little more sleepy, but when you do find that your baby is alert, definitely take advantage of feeding them because they are going to be sleepy a lot. We want to feed them because that's going to tell our bodies to make milk. So when you first nurse baby, your milk is not in yet. You don't really probably feel like you have any milk. You don't really. You have colostrum. It's the yellow stuff. People call it liquid gold. You give tiny amounts to baby because guess what? Their stomach is tiny. It's okay. All right, don't worry about giving them in abundance. Feed them regularly and frequently and they'll do okay. All right, they're going to monitor their weight and make sure that it's going up. You will monitor their temperament. Okay, if they seem super fussy or if they're okay and seem like they are being fed. All right, colostrum is super fatty. It's just really high fat content for a small amount of milk, colostrum. So when is your milk gonna come in? Anywhere from day 3 to 5. Okay, I actually felt like that was a long time. I was like, okay, is baby okay? They can drop a little bit of weight after birth. If you hit around 10% or so, or maybe over 10%, they start getting a little worried and they'll start encouraging you. Do you wanna supplement with formula? It is up to you. I did not. My babies bounced back. They did okay. Kept nursing them regularly. Don't worry about the clock at this point. You just feed your baby. It's a lot. It's exhausting, but do not sit there and go, oh, they can go 3 hours. No. Just feed baby, okay? Okay, so what happens when the milk comes in? It can feel different for everybody, but for me, came in hard and fast. I was like, whoa. Felt like my boobs were just growing super fast, and I just wanted to feed baby because I was terrified of getting mastitis, clogged ducts, the whole jam. So for me, when the milk came in, I just wanted to feed them. I wanted to relieve pressure. There was even pressure sometimes. I did not use a pump at this point. If you pump, you're telling your body to make more milk and you could have an oversupply. I did use the Haka some to relieve. So I'd feed baby on one side, use the Haka on the other, just to kind of relieve that engorgement because the milk came in strong. And then as far as the feeling of a letdown, this is really hard to explain. I didn't feel it a ton. I feel like some people really talk about feeling it. But when I did feel like my body was having a letdown, again, not a doctor, not an expert, I called it a zinger. Almost like you're getting shocked with say, I don't know, just a little electrical shock. Not anything dangerous or bad where it's just zzz, and you're just a little zinger. That's what it felt like for me. It was a little zzz, something happened in my body and I couldn't explain it or describe where, when, and how. But I'd just be oh, I felt like a zinger. So kind of weird, but that's what a letdown felt like for me. Now, I do want to emphasize in the beginning, I mentioned earlier, don't pump. That's my advice. If you want to directly nurse your baby primarily, don't pump. Don't worry about the pump. It ain't time for pumping. Your main goal with your newborn baby is to get a good latch. That is the #1 priority. I have a video specifically talking about latch, a little bit of a visualization for that. I will link that video for sure. Check the description. But latch is your #1 essential as far as what you're doing with baby. And then #1 nursing item to have, I would say, is a nipple balm because, you know, if you leak on your clothes, okay. If you don't have the right bra, who cares? If you don't have a nursing pillow, use a pillow off the couch. I wanted to keep my nipples healthy while my baby was nursing. They weren't used to it. I didn't want cracked. I didn't want bleeding. I did experience a little bit of that. Whatever you're going to use on your nipples, use it often, use it frequent, and try to keep yourself as healthy as possible because you don't want that to be the problem in your breastfeeding journey. Now, let's quickly dive into what's normal. All right, tenderness, yes. Soreness, yes. Chapped nipples, yes. These are all normal. They happen, okay? There is going to be some pain. Some pain is normal. If it is extended pain, something's probably not right. Long feeding sessions, normal. Frequent, meaning like they're close together. That is normal, okay? Cluster feeds, it's normal, all right? Your only job is to take care of yourself and baby, all right? And hopefully people are taking care of you as in your husband, or maybe if you have a mom or mother-in-law that's helping out with food and laundry and other things. Feeding baby is your number one priority in your postpartum life. Another thing that is very normal is baby falling asleep during feedings. So this is going to happen. They get tired. They're worn out. You know, they just started living life. They're not ready to be here in a way. I did not let my baby use my body as a pacifier. Okay. I did passies with my breastfed babies and they did just fine. Okay. Passies are not a problem. I think bottles are a problem. Just my opinion. But my point being, I did not let them use me as a pacifier because I wanted to keep my nipples in good shape. Okay. If they're just sitting there sucking on you, or not even really sucking, but just being there for an hour during a nap, it wasn't giving me a break. I felt like I wanted to have my body heal and have time away from baby, if that makes sense. So I did not let them use me as a pacifier. I gave them a pacifier. Personal choice, no judgment whether you do or you don't. But I'm just saying I did. My babies both made it to about 14, 15 months is when I weaned them. So we made it just fine, even though we did do pacifiers. All right, let's touch on some feeding cues. What's a cue? A cue is baby telling you they want to eat. All right, so rooting. Rooting is when they're like moving around, the head moving around their mouth, sucking noises, lip smacking, maybe even getting frustrated, like throwing their head a little bit. They are looking for the goods, okay? They're looking to be fed. All right, they are maybe getting wiggly. Now, wiggly can be gas as well, so, you know, you never know. But a lot of, I would say, face and head movement is rooting, searching, and lip smacking. Obviously, if baby's crying, that could mean they're hungry, but that's the last sign, okay? If your baby's crying, you missed all the other cues, all right? And now, it can be difficult when you're first trying to get baby to latch and you're just struggling with a lot that's going on. A calm baby can be easier to latch than a crying, fussing baby. So try to catch the cues earlier than crying. Crying is the last one. Now, I want to go over some things that might signal a problem. So when you nurse your baby, take them off, they're done, whatever. If your nipple is the shape of a tube of lipstick, like old school tube of lipstick where it kind of has a slant to it, baby's latch is not right. Something's not right. If while you're nursing them, say you nurse them for 15, 20 minutes, if you're experiencing pain the whole time, something's probably not right with their latch. Pain in the very beginning, normal. Pain that continues, not normal, not ideal. If baby is not producing enough wet diapers, I know with breastfeeding, there can be a lot of fear around, are you giving baby enough milk? Are they eating? I really beat those fears down. And I went into breastfeeding with a lot of confidence in myself. And I'm like, my body can do this. My body will do this. But there are those rare occasions where it's not working out. And like, we don't want to starve our babies, okay? Like, that is the worst thing, okay? Anybody that wants to breastfeed and is so stuck on breastfeeding that they're willing to like starve their baby, they're missing the point. The whole point is happy and healthy baby. Make sure you're seeing enough wet diapers. That should be your reassurance that baby is getting milk, okay? And newborns go through a lot of diapers, all right? We're talking like, let's see, there's 24 hours in a day. It depends on how many times you change them throughout the night, but during the day, they could go through like 8 diapers or so in the 12 hours of like daytime, if that makes sense. Like, they go through a lot of diapers, okay? So watch for that. Make sure they're having wet diapers and poopy diapers as well. Sometimes in the beginning, they don't have a ton. It kind of depends. So just keep an eye on that and talk to your pediatrician about that and make sure they are on track. And also, I do recommend tracking their feedings and their bowel movements and diaper changes for those first couple weeks, okay? In the hospital, we did it on paper. When we came home, we did it on paper as well when I stayed home. Now, once I started going on outings and going out and about with baby, I started doing it on my phone because my phone was always with me. Okay, so just a little pro tip there. One other issue that I experienced with one of my babies was a clicking sound. When they nursed, they made a clicking sound. It went away, but the lactation consultant in the hospital was like, that clicking sound's not quite right. It meant that their latch was a little off, okay? There's lots of issues that can happen with the latch. Obviously, tongue and lip ties. I did not experience those, so I can't preach on that subject. If you are experiencing those, definitely talk to your pediatrician, a lactation consultant specialist, and if you need to see a pediatric dentist, a specialist in that. Again, not my expertise. When it comes to a lactation specialist, if you can use the same one as much as possible for consistency, that is great. Try to keep that consistency. If you feel like you need to weigh baby, if you have concerns over their weight gain, try to use the same scale. Okay, maybe you keep going to your same pediatrician office and saying, hey, can I just throw a baby on the scale real quick? Can I get a quick weight check? If you have a lactation class at your hospital, again, try to keep using that same scale. So I was actually fortunate enough to have a lactation class, breastfeeding class, and we live really close to the hospital, went to it, did a weight check. I threw them on the scale. Oftentimes you'll strip them down to their diaper and you can check their weight, feed them, and then check their weight after the feed. I never did that. I just went to make sure they were gaining weight. And I was like, okay, I know what they weighed a week ago. Okay, I want to check their weight now. Great, they're gaining weight, okay? And you can find resources online that tell you about how many ounces they should gain a day, a week, a month, depending on their age and where they're at. So that can be a really helpful guide. Now, a few other quick tips that helped early on. Prioritize the latch. Prioritize the nipple balm or butter. I would not worry about getting every accessory, like silverettes. I didn't have them. The therapy packs things, heat or cold, I didn't have them. Don't get too in the weeds with all the breastfeeding supplies because they can get very overwhelming and complicate your breastfeeding journey. Okay, I can link a couple more videos on that as well, which breastfeeding supplies I recommend and kind of what order I recommend them as far as my opinion on importance. So check for those links in the description. Another tip, hydration and snacks. You don't need to have lactation cookies. You don't need to have lactation drinks. Just drink water or whatever you enjoy and eat food. Eat, drink. It will help, okay? And I was very hungry when I was breastfeeding, all right? It was actually a struggle for me after I quit breastfeeding to decrease my calorie intake because, man, I got used to eating a lot of food when I was breastfeeding. And then one more tip I want to have for you as an early breastfeeder, make sure you're using good posture, okay? I didn't use nursing pillows. I just used different pillows in our house. I'd throw a blanket over them, bring baby to me. Very important. Do not lean over to feed baby. Do not hunch. Bring baby to you, all right? And I really liked this hold. If you can kind of see my arm, baby's feet would be behind me back here and their head would be here and I could bring them in and I could totally hold my baby in one arm because they were so little at first. This hand was free. If I needed to support my breast, support their head, open their mouth, play with their chin to make them open, I had a free hand. I didn't like crossbody because I feel like their head was facing that way, not my boob or my breast, So I actually like to pull them in towards me. Good posture, where you're sitting, sit up well. Take care of yourself when you're nursing your baby. Take care of yourself through all of your postpartum journey. Eat, drink, have good back posture. Do what you need to do, all right? Take care of yourself and try to set yourself up for success. Now, I quickly want to touch on the emotional side. All right, so breastfeeding can feel natural and good, but it can also feel foreign and strange, okay? You can be crying through a breastfeed, okay? That doesn't mean you're failing and it doesn't mean you're postpartum depression psycho, okay? You can just have a flood of emotions, all right? That's okay, all right? It doesn't have to mean we need to put a label on it. Obviously, watch out if it gets bad. Get the help you need, of course. Get the help you need also in small ways first, before it would be to a point of, I need a doctor's care. I'm seriously deep in the postpartum depression, Ask your sister to come over and make you dinner. Ask your mom to help out, Don't be afraid to ask people for help. I didn't actually need a ton. I felt like I did okay, but there was one friend that came over and she came over by herself and my husband was gone at work. I was by myself at home with the baby, no visitors. And I'm pretty sure she's the one person where I said, do you care to hold them? I think I will go take a shower. And they were like, absolutely, I'll hold your baby. No problem. I think I fed them, went, took a shower, and I was like, they'll be okay. They will be okay. I can get a shower in. And it was a friend I didn't feel like I had to host. She was just chilling. She was just chilling with baby and she was good. And it wasn't oh, we're having aunt, uncle, cousins over where I wouldn't go shower. I wasn't entertaining people. So don't be afraid to ask for help when you want it and when you're comfortable. All right. And another thing I want to say with that is if you have somebody in your life you're comfortable with, whether it's your mom or maybe mother-in-law or an aunt or a sister, maybe you want to take care of your baby. You're like, I want to bond with my baby. I want to breastfeed my baby, but can you take the dog for a walk? Do you mind? Or could you pick up dinner on the way over? It's hard to ask people this. I'm not saying it's easy to ask, but I know me, when I'm a grandma one day, I want to do that for my children. I want to make them the food. I want to do their laundry if they're comfortable with that. Take their dog for a walk. I want to do all that and let them take care of their baby as much as possible. I am not big on holding newborns. Like, I'm not big on holding people's kids. I'm like, they're your kids. You got it. I am happy to love and support them if needed, but I'm also like, they're yours. All right. You just met this baby. Like, I didn't want to pass my baby around. They were mine. So I think of that, maybe not right now, the season you're in, but I think of that in the overall of my life. I definitely want to be that support person for a future mama. And I do just want to say, guilt, doubt, frustration, all these things come with being a mom, whether you're breastfeeding or not. Try not to be too hard on yourself, okay? You ideally are doing your best. All right? You're ideally feeding your baby if that is your goal. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, if breastfeeding doesn't work out, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. All right? I know that's hard to hear if you really want to be successful, but at the end of the day, you want to be a good mama and you want a happy and healthy baby. All right? So whatever it takes to make that happen. And I do also want to say that if you're in it right now in those first 2 weeks of breastfeeding, it gets easier. All right, let's talk about when it starts to get a little bit better. So over time, as you watch your baby gain weight, as you watch them get that latch down, you're gaining confidence. They're gaining strength. They're gaining like head and neck strength. You are gaining confidence in yourself, your ability to feed baby, maybe your confidence to breastfeed them in public. You are not going to experience as much of a strong letdown feeling. The engorgement will calm down. The overwhelm, the sometimes emotional rush that can come with that letdown, those things are going to level out. Around the 3-month mark, it really levels out. Almost to the point where you think you're not making milk anymore. So watch out for the 3-month mark. A lot of moms are returning to work at this time. So they return to work, start pumping, and right at this time their milk regulates like majorly and they don't feel it anymore. You don't feel that sense of engorgement. So it's very easy to think you're losing your supply. I think your body just naturally regulates at this point. So at the 3-month mark, you're not going to leak near as much, if at all. I don't remember if that's when I quit wearing like breast pads in my bra. It might have been around the 3-month mark that I didn't need them anymore. You're not going to need the nipple balm anymore. You know, breastfeeding will be a quicker task because you're going to need less and fewer supplies as you go along. You are going to recover from your postpartum birth, whether again C-section or vaginal delivery. You're going to heal. Your body's going to get stronger. You are going to go down as far as like swelling. I know for me, with one of my babies, I did epidural. I had a lot of fluid retention and I was getting like Kangles and I had to wear compression socks and that was not very, it just felt very out of place for me. I don't experience that kind of thing often. I haven't had like a lot of surgeries or anything in my life. So for me, that felt really overwhelming. With one of my babies, I had like pretty serious postpartum bleeding, not in the hospital, but just at home. And honestly, I probably should have gone to the hospital with how much it was, but I just didn't want to. That went away. And it made breastfeeding easier because I wasn't as worried about my body. My body chilled out a little bit. Your baby's going to get stronger. They're going to know how to do it. That bond between you and baby, you're going to recognize their hunger cues more. You might even get them on a little bit of a schedule or a routine. Maybe you do like eat, sleep, play, or eat, play, sleep, whatever the routine is. You're going to find it. Okay, breastfeeding will get so much easier. And honestly, in the long run, I think breastfeeding is so much easier than bottles. Up to you what you do. If your kid goes to daycare and you need bottles, whatever. My babies got to stay with me during their breastfeeding season. Oh my gosh, we never had bottles in our sink. I barely ever touched the breast pump. Oh my gosh, the lack of dishes was amazing. Okay, and the savings on formula, amazing. There are some huge benefits. I got some videos I can link on that as well, of course. And I just want to say, like, it gets easier, it gets better. You got this, you can do this. Okay, I will link some supplies in the description as well as videos going over the supplies. My top recommendation, nipple balm. That is number 1. Nipple balm, nursing bra, nursing pads of some sort, whether reusable, disposable. Those are very helpful. And then if you're going to pump, that's a whole nother department with like the Haka, the pump, milk bags, that sort of thing. But don't feel pressure to buy every product on the market. You most definitely do not need them. So if you are in the first 2 weeks of breastfeeding, hang in there. I promise it gets easier. Be gentle with yourself. Ask for help when you need it. And just do the simple thing of feeding your baby. Okay, that is your number 1 job. All right, mama? If this video helped you, give it a like, subscribe, check out my full breastfeeding playlist if you are newly breastfeeding or pregnant and maybe getting into that season. Drop a comment if you are currently breastfeeding. I'd love to hear how it is going for you and what your journey is currently looking like. And again, check out all the resources listed in the description. I hope to see you in one of those videos. Until then, have a great day.